doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
At Straight Talk, we get it. You say no a lot.
Mom, can I get a tarantula?
No.
Coffee?
No.
So we're giving you more reasons to say yes, like a free 5G phone with real limited data or plan activation.
Can I use the free phone?
Yes.
See, doesn't it feel good to say yes to more?
Absolutely.
Face tattoo?
Absolutely not.
Available at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Taxes and fees apply. In-store activation of Gold Unlimited plan or higher required. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
Let's go!
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Sports fans, listen up. 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer, and bladder leaks can be a side effect. That's why Depend is teaming up with the Prostate Cancer Foundation to encourage screening, because health is a long game and it's yours to win. Now, here's the cool part. Through November, Depend is contributing up to $300,000 to prostate cancer research by donating 25 cents for every purchase of Depend shields, guards, and Real Fit products. Void in Mississippi? Learn more at depend.com.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line.
But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. Their max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
From the Accident Recovery Team Traffic Center, don't worry about me, I called ART.
Traffic volumes picking up, and I'm even seeing some slowdowns eastbound on Kellogg between 135th Street West and 119th Street West. Traffic update from 98.7 and 1330 KNSS in the Accident Recovery Team Traffic Center. I'm Jed Chambers.
Weather. Mostly sunny skies turn partly cloudy, and after we hit 88 on Sunday, we'll fall a few degrees today. We'll call the high of 83. Southeast winds 5 to 15. Partly cloudy, lower 60s tonight. Mostly sunny on Tuesday, 82. Mostly sunny Wednesday, and 84. That's your forecast from Storm Team 12. I'm meteorologist Jake Dunn.
I listen in the car. I listen at work.
Download the Odyssey app and listen anywhere.
I listen at home when I should be listening to my wife, but I call that multitasking.
97.5 and 1240 KFH. Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH Wichita. KNSS HD2 Clearwater. Odyssey Sports Station.
Hey, Wichita, it's Jacob Albrock. Stay right there. Just breaking in sports talk. It's Sports Daily coming up next, exclusively on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Jim Rome here with your Rome Report. I really hate to pile on Russell Wilson, but since people way more important and incredible than me are, why not, right? Hall of Famer Tony Gonzalez and former teammate Richard Sherman busted out their shovels to throw even more dirt on Russ tonight. Gonzalez says that Russ has been so bad in recent years, he may have actually played himself out of the Hall of Fame. Maybe, but that's presuming that he was a Hall of Famer in the first place. Something that Richard Sherman seems to dispute, reminding everybody that Russ was at his best when he had the Legion of Boom to back him up in Seattle, but is just merely a guy without the LOB. Look, that's not the first time Sherman's come for Russ, and it probably won't be the last, especially if Russ continues to try to play. Your legacy, Russ. If you want to continue to tarnish it, that's your prerogative. But if I were you, I would just stay down this time, because every time you try to get up, you get kicked right in the head. I'm Jim Rome. Football season is heating up on Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. So don't miss any of the action this season with Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code ROAM and get $50 in bonus credit instantly in lineups when you play $5. That's code ROAM on Prize Picks to get $50 in bonus credit instantly in lineups when you play $5. Win or lose, you'll get $50 bonus credit in lineups just for playing. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Warning, the national debt is spiraling out of control. Trade wars are causing record volatility, and inflation could make a devastating comeback. Will you sit on the sidelines and wait, or will you take action today to help protect your hard-earned retirement savings? And what if you could do it tax and penalty-free? Find out more by requesting your free 2025 gold and silver kit from the top-rated precious metals company, Goldco. Plus, you could get an unlimited instant match on bonus silver if you qualify. Call 855-969-GOLD to learn more. That's 855-969-GOLD. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily.
Well, hey there, everybody. How are you this morning on a Monday, a reaction Monday here on Sports Daily? And boy, do we have a lot to react to. A full football weekend. We had high school football. We had college football. We had NFL football. Nobody was on a bye. We had Sunday night football keeping us up way too late. I don't know if you stayed up to see a 40-40 tie last night, TJ, but that was a little ridiculous. You know, between the Europeans winning the Ryder Cup and a big-time NFL game ending in a tie. Big weekend for non-American sports things.
Not only did I stay up to get the Sunday night football, I was sitting in a McDonald's parking lot on my way back from Kansas City last night, trying to follow what was going on. It was listening to Mike Tirico, and then he kept screaming. I had to stop and watch the George Pickens touchdown, because that's how crazy of a game it was last night.
You could hear the game, of course, last night right here on Sunday Night Football coverage provided by Westwood One on KFH. Jacob Albrock, TJ Cleveland with you. Of course, the Chiefs played yesterday. We'll get you all of the Chiefs reaction. We have Josh Brisco, our Chiefs insider, joining us a little bit later. We've got K-State to react to in just a few minutes here. Wyatt Thompson, voice of the Wildcats, is going to join us as K-State gets back in the win column, thankfully. Not a great weekend for KU, not a great ending for KU. I don't think it was a terrible game for KU or anything, just a tough ending. We'll get into that as well. Take a look around the rest of the NFL. It is a jam-packed Monday, as it always is here on the program. Always also expecting to mix in Jaylon Thompson for a Royals postmortem today, as this regular season of Major League Baseball is in the books. It's all brought to you by Wichita Brewing Company. What's on tap? Brought to you by WBC, featuring Yumkin Pumpkin Ale, WBC's most popular seasonal beer. It's made with actual pumpkin, served with a spiced rim. Yumkin Pumpkin, now available at Wichita Brewing Company. Pizza and beer made here. So there it is, TJ. We had the 40-40 tie last night. The Chiefs get the 37-20 win. Let's briefly hit that. That's where you were yesterday. We'll briefly hit it because we're going to have Wyatt Thompson in a few minutes, and it'll be a minute before we get into our deep dive on the Chiefs. But, hey, the offense finally looked good. And we were talking last night on Sports Sunday. I don't really care, quite frankly, that the Ravens were banged up. It was a factor. I'm not ignoring that it was a factor. It was 100% a factor. But just to see them do that, I don't care who it's against, was great.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that they haven't done that against anybody. And I think that, you can make the argument about the injuries, but a banged up Ravens defense is still, pretty good defense based on what they do and their schematics and everything like that. And so I agree. You walk away from this feeling better about the Chiefs than you do feeling worse about the Ravens, I would imagine. As a Ravens fan, the only person that may feel differently about that, we'll have to ask PJ Glasser later in the week. But yeah, awesome performance from the Chiefs offense. This is like pulling your hair out for the last 2 years waiting to see something like that, I think. It's
just, look, it's what I thought, and I don't know what you thought before this. I've thought going into this year, healthy, not knowing injuries, suspensions, whatever, that the Chiefs had a chance to be one of the top offenses in football. They finally looked like they weren't going to have some of the deficiencies. It started with Josh Simmons is going to be better than what they had at left tackle. Even if he's not great, he's going to be better. So you start there. Rashee Rice comes back at some point, but before we knew he was suspended with Worthy and another year at Kelsey, and Kelsey looked slimmer and leaner and all these things. It was like, man, Patrick Mahomes is about to have one of those kinds of Patrick Mahomes seasons. And then the bottom falls out. You get the suspension, you get the injury, you get all of these things happening. And it's like, okay, well, they're not going to be there yet. Can they get there becomes the question. Yesterday may have been an indication that, in fact, they can, and we'll see what happens. We talk about all this passing, but TJ, I think it's worth noting that the running backs carried the ball 24 times in the game. Even in a game like that, now through the last 2 or 3, it hasn't been, world beating, but they have committed to running the ball. And Xavier Worthy got a couple carries too to inflate the yardage. The running backs had 88 yards on 24 carries, which is not terrible. It's not great, but it's just them committing to it that I think is worth noting, because that's something they haven't done in the past. The pass game looked great. Mahomes looked great. Worthy looked great, but they did still commit to running the ball, even in a game like that. I thought that was meaningful.
I think that that's kind of twofold. I think that one, it was the first time that we've seen anything meaningful from Brashard Smith, the rookie running back, and he's going to be really good. They're still leaning him into the offense, but I think that his role by the end of the season is going to be pretty huge, and he could be something of what we saw like Jerick McKinnon, as we talked about a couple of weeks ago. The other part of this, we talked to Isaiah Pacheco last night in the locker room, is that he said, he's like, everybody talks about when Xavier Worthy comes back, it helps other wide receivers get open. It takes, it opens up the running game as well, because you're going to have guys drop back in coverage when you have Tyquan Thornton and Xavier Worthy on the field. It opens everything up and allows for those opportunities. So, obviously just complementary football is what the name of the game is. That's what the Chiefs aimed to do last night, and they did that. And so I think that, as you said, not a great yards per carry by the running back room, but that's fine. Like, we've seen absolutely nothing from the running back room and nothing but the pass. And so I think that just committing to it and getting something out of it to take the pressure off of your offense it's going to be ginormous for this team.
And then, of course, the defense looked great again. Steve Spagnuolo, man, this guy may need to go to the Hall of Fame as a defensive coordinator. Do we do that in the NFL? I know we don't. But, the Ravens lost Lamar Jackson late into the game, and that played a factor. But they were in control defensively of this after the opening drive. They did exactly what they wanted to do. They made Lamar Jackson comfortable, and that's something Steve Spagnuolo has been comfortable with over his career, is making Lamar Jackson slightly uncomfortable. But with all of this, and when we were predicting Chiefs, me personally, I did not see them being this good defensively again this year. And they have been. And that raises the floor in every game that they play, especially every game while they're still not at full strength. It's allowed them to be in all the games they've played this year. And we'll get into, down the road and the future for this team and everything else. But I don't want to overdo too much out of one game. I don't. But it's against that team with their backs against the wall. Man, it just feels like a pretty big deal.
I mean, if we're going to talk about the Giants' first half, as poorly as we talked about the Giants' first half, they deserve the praise for beating a Ravens team like this. And that defense, I agree. I mean, there were so many questions about, there's no Justin Reed, who wasn't, the best in your secondary, but he's a huge part of it. There's a lot of guys that had to step up in your secondary. And then you had some preseason injuries to your secondary. And, Jaylon Watson has stood up and played awesome this year. The defensive front has been awesome this year with, the Karlaftis extension.
Still not a lot of sacks.
Yeah, but just contain. I mean, it just Spags with what he's got is just, as you said, it's unbelievable. And I haven't looked at the box score. I need to dig into it more. But it's like, I don't even remember like seeing anything outside of like a one Derrick Henry long rush. Like I don't even remember him doing anything.
They always do a good job. I don't think teams are going to run on them a lot this year. It's can they get enough pass rush? Can they stop a good pass game? And they did for a lot of that game. I mean, I know Lamar Jackson got hurt and he would have piled up more numbers, but it was a good performance. It was. All right. We'll get more on the Chiefs a little bit later in this hour. Josh Brisco joins us next hour to talk Chiefs. When we come back, though, Wyatt Thompson in. How about those K-State Wildcats? Wildcat fans, how you feeling this morning? We'll discuss next.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
The canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message, so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
We are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now. 831001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you
and inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSEW.
And now, digging deeper with the teams you follow, it's another Sports Daily Insider interview on KFH.
And we welcome you back in here to Sports Daily. Glad to be with you, and we are glad to be joined by the voice of the Wildcats, Wyatt Thompson, in with us here this morning. And Wyatt, for the first time this year, we can be a little chipper when we're talking about K-State football. Isn't that crazy? For the first time this year, what did we just finish up? Week 5? And we finally get the opportunity to be excited about what we saw out there. And we are excited about what we saw out there. How are you, Wyatt?
Well, I'm doing very, very well. Great to be on with you guys. I think one of the things that really stood out from the get-go was just the passion and the energy. And I kind of felt like, in all honesty, we were going to see that. Coach Kleiman talked a lot about getting back to who we are and what we do and doing it our way and those types of things. And part of that is just being tough and physical and playing with emotion. And they even got a penalty at one point for celebration. And I think he loved it, if I'm being honest. So, yeah, it was a heck of a game, heck of a day. Perfect? No, but certainly a good one. We'll take it and move on.
Wyatt Thompson, you talk a lot about this team. Did you imagine in any of your years calling Kansas State football that Lincoln Cure's first stat was going to be an interception?
They
were creative, weren't they?
And it's the perfect reason I am not a betting man, right? I mean, who would have thought that? Now, again, with that said, I see some things sometimes, so I wasn't like stunned because I'd seen him practice it before, but yeah, that would have been way down the line, to be honest with you.
What do you make of Matt Wells getting creative there? Lincoln Cure doing that. We saw Blake Barnett make his college debut running the ball around. It felt like, coming out of the bye week, it was like, let's try something,
Yeah, and I think some of that has been dictated by, Dylan Edwards. You hoped and you thought he was healthy. And certainly that, I'm sure, will be something that we'll talk about here in a little bit. And it was so great to have him back that way. But, Joe Jackson had been dinged up a little bit, Devon Rice a little bit, not awful, but just enough to maybe, make some difference. And I think they, during the bye week said, let's give him a different look and try Blake. I think a lot of people don't know a lot about him yet, but I really, really think he's going to be a good player. He's from Erie, Colorado, and he can really run. He can spin it too, but he's 225 pounds, and I thought he was pretty good in there for his first time out, to be honest.
Yeah, it was good all around. Wyatt, as K-State gets the 34-20 win over a previously unbeaten UCF team. I think most of us realized UCF was not a world beater. They were receiving votes, but it didn't really matter, honestly. Like, we've seen K-State lose to Army. We've seen K-State should have lose to North Dakota. So I don't care who it was against. We just needed to see them play well. And that, more than anything, they played well. They played at least up to, close to what we thought they would be this year.
Yeah, I think if you're being even overly critical, the one thing that you're going to point to is maybe some of the shock plays that they gave up defensively in the second half. But even defensively, I thought they were pretty good. And frankly, while we're talking about that, I want to tell you too, I thought and still do. I think Alex Grinch has done a great job with the UCF defense. They're flying around. They were out there a lot, right? But they're so much better defensively than they've been the last couple of years from my perspective. Now, back to K-State. I thought Avery played a rock-solid game. Dylan makes such a difference. I think everybody, if you didn't know that, you certainly saw it firsthand on Saturday. I think the offensive line was a little bit better. I'm anxious to see what Coach Kleiman says about that today after reviewing film and looking at that because it is an area where we had major concern, frankly, going into the game this weekend. And if you're going to get it kind of turned a little bit, it had to, let's be honest, it had to start last Saturday. And I'm happy for those guys. Lots of emotion in that locker room after lots of emotion on the field. That's awesome to see.
Wyatt, you alluded to this a little bit. We were joking on the show last week about, man, like if it's only Dylan Edwards is the problem with this offense, then Dylan Edwards might have a chance to go win a Heisman at running back. There's been that many problems, but he comes out and runs for 160 yards. What does he do, as a player? And then what does that open up for the offense?
Well, it's a good question because I think the great part about him, and there are several great parts, is his ability to run and the shock value of that. I mean, you have to respect where he's at constantly. And that, in theory, is going to help everybody else. I think it helped Avery. I think it helped in the pass game. There were a couple of drops. I think Garrett Oakley would like to have a couple back. But for the most part, I thought Tibbs took a step forward. We're seeing K-State put together those kind of pass numbers. And how about this? Without Jace Brown. Jace started in the game but didn't have a catch. And he's been kind of dinged up a little bit. Not a lot was talked about that, but that snapped a streak of 25 straight games with at least one catch for him. So to do that without Jace, it was great to have Dylan. But he can catch the ball. He has really, really good speed and shiftiness. And I asked him off air, were you in full gear there running down the sideline? He said, yeah, pretty much. So it's great to have him back and being able to do that. He brings a lot to the table.
Wyatt, I don't know in your conversations with people after the game if you know the answer to this, but Avery Johnson has 30 or 40% higher, rate of running than we've seen. To me, it looked like more of it was designed just to not, I don't want to say to force the issue, but reintroduce the element of his game that is intentionally, which I think is what a lot of fans have been asking for. I know having Dylan Edwards helps do that, but did you get a sense of what the goal was there and how they felt about getting him on the move just a little bit more?
It's a wonderful question. And I think the easy answer for me is I think Matt Wells, Chris Kleiman, and Avery Johnson wanted to see Avery Johnson run the ball a little bit more. So how do you go about it? What's the best way, right? Because the one thing that is not going to change is they want to keep him as healthy and upright as possible because we've got a lot of football to play with 7 regular season games to go. But I think they, I'm going to say just kind of open the gate a little bit and let him kick it open a little bit farther. Most of it, I think you are accurate there too. It was designed. And I think he's also exceptionally dangerous when he, is in the pocket and things break down a little bit and he can get into a one-on-one situation. And I'm hopeful, frankly, to see more of that. But I hope I'm answering the question. But I think generally speaking, Jacob, that it was more quarterback run design. And I thought it was a good plan. It's easy to say that when you have success, but I mean, the thing is I've said this before all season long with the frustration with the fans and all of us for him not running as much. We're not talking about 20 or 25 runs, maybe in that 12 to 15 range. And I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I'm going to guess he ran it, 12 or 13 times, just guessing.
12.
Yeah.
So Wyatt, as we said last week, the cup in your house is always half full. After a win like this, the next 5 weeks are daunting. Baylor, TCU, KU, Texas Tech. What do you take away from this? And how much better do you feel about this team going into that stretch?
Well, I feel better, but more importantly, I think they feel better. It's going to be a lot easier coming in, like yesterday as an example, to get in that tub and work on bumps and bruises and look at film and now get into game week for Baylor. Baylor is 3-2. They haven't been perfect, but like K-State, they've played a good schedule for the most part. They've been on a terrific win for them at SMU after a really hard loss at home where they got thumped at the line of scrimmage by Auburn. I think this is a really quality football team in some ways. I don't know that they're as good defensively as, some of us thought early, but they have good personnel. But what you do like is Sawyer Robertson, the quarterback. He's been outstanding. He's had at least 3 touchdown passes in every single game this year. That's awfully good production. And the scary part is that he has weapons. He has one of the best tight ends in the country in Michael Trigg. Cole Wilson has been a great addition from Texas State. There were a couple of guys from Texas State that came with Jake Spavital, their new offensive coordinator, and Jake's done a really good job too. It's a really good offensive football team. So there's a lot of work to do to get ready to kind of close those guys down a little bit. And you know what? I don't want to sound like a coach, but keeping him shut down, or maybe not shut down, but slowed down, the best way, if he's on the sideline. So that means K-State's got to run the ball. They've got to throw the ball. They've got to keep and possess the ball, maybe win time at possession. Who knows? But this will be a challenging game from my perspective.
Wyatt Thompson, voice of the Wildcats, joining us. TJ brought up had a little fun there with the Lincoln Cure interception. I do think it's interesting that the offense, and I know it came after a bye week, so I guess I'm curious at how much of this you think on regular weeks we will see, but it wasn't just that play. It was the Blake Barnett package, right? Where he comes in and runs the ball, is the quarterback for a while. It was certainly more wrinkles and creativity mixed in. Is that a product of an extra week to prepare, Wyatt, or do you think is that an intentional thing that we will begin to see now moving forward?
I think it's a little of both, if I'm being honest with you. I think I think I mentioned last week that after the Friday night loss, you get back late, the coordinators stayed behind, all the other coaches went out to recruit, and there were a lot of one-on-one meetings with Matt Wells and Chris Kleiman and Joe Klanderman and Chris Kleiman. Coach admitted to that. Then you get the staff involved, then you get the players involved, probably captains first and then the rest of the group. And I think they responded. And I think they wanted to do several things, but one is to get back to tough physical football, as I said before, but also let's fly around and have some fun, right? So many people had talked about, man, I just don't see any emotion out of this group. And I don't think it was necessarily intentional, but I think after the hard loss to Iowa State, there was some hangover there, and then it got a little worse and a little worse. And now let's go back to the drawing board. So I'll be surprised if we don't see some of that. And I think most people would too.
Well, let me pull out a name here and let you talk about him. Quay Moss was a Division II guy, correct?
Yes. Yeah, from West Georgia. And not the biggest guy, TJ, but you see his athleticism and his want to. He kind of reminds me a couple of guys that we've had here in recent times. He's really athletic and he just fights for the ball. One of the first times I saw him in spring, there was a guy that he was covering on a little drag right across the middle, and the guy caught the ball, and he didn't get him tackled, but he was sitting there beating at that ball and trying to knock it away. And I thought, okay, this guy is going to be a ball hawk. And I think it's turned out to be the case. Again, he's kind of filled that position and done a pretty good job with it. So I really think that, you saw the interception, dude. That was special.
He's awesome.
There are a lot of people still talking about maybe one of the best they've seen in a while, and put me in that category. I'm sure I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you saw it. It was spectacular, man.
It was nuts. He's the true psychopath defensive back, wearing no gloves, baggy T-shirt, jumping on people's heads and making interceptions like that.
Yeah, and you know what? We need a guy like that, right? I think we have, and you didn't ask about this, but the truth is, I think we have some really good young people in this program and some leaders, but some of them are more like what Austin Moore was a year ago, a lead by example kind of guy, as opposed to, that rah-rah thing. I think Quake could be one of those guys that could, get in people's face. You have to have respect of your teammates to be a really quality leader and be able to lead when things aren't good, right? Well, somebody did a pretty good job in the last week, and I would say to you guys, I think it was more than somebody. I think it was a lot of people that had a hand in it.
Yeah, it certainly appeared that way. One more, Wyatt, before we let you go. It's not, we don't want to be all rosy here,
Right.
moving forward, a correctable item. What did you make of the run defense? They gave up 200 yards. 100 of those came on 2 carries, though.
Right.
So, are we satisfied with the way they played? Was it just, unfortunate that a couple of big plays get in? Because we know in this league, you got to be better there if you want to beat good teams.
Yeah. So based on what you just said, and I agree 1,000% with that, you've got to be a little bit better in your fits, and you got to tackle better. I'll give UCF a little tip of the cap. I think they did some things that maybe surprised KState. The longest plays are the ones that hurt the most, right? That's an obvious statement, but you've got to get that cleaned up. And if they do that with the way they played most of the rest of the day, I think they can get to quarterbacks, and I think they can compete on a lot of plays, but boy, you just can't give up that many big plays, and you win the game. But a lot of times if you do that, in particular on the road, you won't. And so I think that's a big deal. The other thing that's, you talked about not rosy, certainly you have to be concerned about the wide receiver room and how beat up they are right now. We saw, several guys. I mean, Jace wasn't really, he started the game, but they got him out of there pretty quickly. It just didn't feel like he was, where he could go. And a couple other guys get dinged up. So knock on wood, maybe most of those guys will be available this week.
Yeah, it'll be a big one. We'll have it for you here, K-State Radio Network, as the Cats continue to build some momentum in Waco against Baylor Saturday. Another early kick. Wyatt and the gang will have you on the K-State Radio Network right here on KFH. Wyatt, good luck. Safe travels this week. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks a lot, fellas. Enjoyed the visit. Appreciate you.
There goes Wyatt Thompson. Always a great conversation. Hey, thanks to Prairie Fire Coffee for keeping us fueled up this morning after we had some late Sunday night football in a tie. We'll get to that, plus a deeper dive into the Chiefs as we make our way through here on this Monday. We've got to talk KU as well. TJ, we've got to talk a little Ryder Cup happened over the weekend. We've got a bit of reacting to do on a Reaction Monday.
It was a crazy weekend. I was at KU all day on Saturday and the Chiefs all day on Sunday. So my wife's a big golf watcher, so she was locked in, keeping me up on all the Ryder Cup updates. I was getting calls of her explaining what she was seeing because she couldn't believe it. So the only football that she watched was I think the Penn State Oregon, because it was the late game when there was no golf on, and Sunday Night Football because there was no golf on.
I kind of tuned out of the Ryder Cup after Saturday. I mean, I love the Ryder Cup, love it, and we'll get into
a tough weekend to have it. This is an awesome football weekend.
Yeah, some of the storylines and stuff, but I was locked in on Friday. I love the Ryder Cup. I'm watching the Ryder Cup over the NFL. So I missed a lot of the comeback and that drama yesterday. I've, of course, seen some of the things from Rory McIlroy, and we'll get into all of that because I do think that's interesting stuff. And it'll get a little out of sight, out of mind. But we'll kind of take a broader look around the sports weekend. We have Josh Brisco coming up in the second hour as we'll dig deep into the Chiefs. We had TJ's take on KU. He was there in person on Saturday. And a lot of other fun stuff to get to here on the show today. We appreciate you being with us. We want to tell you that Sports Talk on KFH is presented by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. You can watch your local NFL games live every Sunday all season long. Just visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. Many of those, including the Chiefs yesterday, you saw on 12 News. And we appreciate you watching on 12 News. We appreciate you watching us right now on 12 News Plus and Facebook and YouTube and X. Your comments can go to any of those places. We can get them here over the air. You can call us at 869-1240. Max has the phone lines ready for you. We'll come back. More Sports Daily right after this.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes. flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
We are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now. 83101 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. It is Sports Daily. Glad to be with you here. If you want to win some iced tea, you can do that right now by texting the keyword tea, TEA, to the short code 20357. That'll get you a free cup of iced tea, more than 25 flavors to choose from at either East Wichita, West Wichita, or in Derby. Again, that's tea to the short code 20357. It's also National Coffee Day. You can buy one, get one 50% off on all coffee drinks today at HTO in East Wichita or in Derby. Or if you happen to be up in the Hutchinson area, it'll apply there too. But buy one, get one 50% off on all iced or hot coffee drinks all day long at HTO in the Wichita Metro to celebrate National Coffee Day. We welcome you back in. It's a good day for coffee. Sunday Night Football went long last night. 40-40 tie between the Cowboys and the Packers. I'll be honest, TJ, I thought the Cowboys were going to get housed in that game. I don't know what to make of the entire day in the NFL. It was drinking early a little bit yesterday, and often as it typically does on an NFL Sunday. We thought the Packers might be one of the best teams in football. They haven't looked like that the last couple of weeks. The Bills struggled a little bit against the Saints. They're just like, they're weird. The 49ers lost at home as they finally start to get healthy to the team the Chiefs go visit next week, the surprising 3-1 Jaguars. Here we go again with the NFL. Like, all bets are off, and we get 2 Monday Night Football games tonight.
Yeah, last night, as I said, I was driving around, just fired up the game while I was driving home from Kansas City, and I heard, something about the Cowboys driving down the field, and I was like, I looked up at one point in the press box, and I think it was like a 2-score game or something like that. And then I just heard something, take the lead for the Cowboys. And I was like, whoa, what is going on in this game? What did I miss? This is nuts.
All game long. I mean, it just kept doing that over and over and over again. But the Cowboys kind of hung in there. They got to be happy with that. Micah Parsons, not really much of a factor in the game, if we're being perfectly honest. Dallas, I think, if we were judging that game based on Jerry Jones versus Micah Parsons, that was probably a win for Jerry Jones. It was obviously more than that. The Cowboys, the problem for the Cowboys is, and this is coming from a Cowboys fan, like, they're not going to be good enough to do what they want to do. So all of this stuff is a little bit bittersweet now, because, like, at least for me, like, everything points to next year for them this year. But they picked a game to play well after they didn't play particularly well a week ago. How about the Chargers falling to the Giants, and probably the surprise of the year? We'll bring this back to the Chiefs, and we'll bring this up with Joshua Brisco in the next hour. But you see the Giants beat the Chargers. Jackson Dart and Cam Scattaboo, the young rookies, kind of leading the way there on a day where they lose Malik Neighbors for the season. That's a big win for them, but obviously we're more focused on the Chargers. TJ, the Chargers lose another tackle, another all-world caliber tackle. That's 2 of them down now. I'm telling you, because my wife is a Chargers fan, a loose one now, not as much as she used. There is not a more snake-bitten franchise when it comes to injuries than the Chargers. It's insane. And now with that loss, and with another loss of an offensive lineman, they don't seem quite as dangerous as they did a week ago.
Yeah, I was talking to Michaela Day over at Cake at the Chiefs game yesterday, and she's from San Diego area. And I said, "Man, Week 3 Super Bowl champions for the Los Angeles Chargers, and now back to reality. AFC West chases on for the Kansas City Chiefs." So it does feel like it's just we talked about this last night, and we'll relate it back to the Chiefs. I mean, it was a massive swing for the Chiefs to beat the Ravens the way they did, and the Chargers to lose the way that they did. That's a 2-game swing basically, or a full game swing if you're looking at standings wise. So that was definitely a result that we didn't have on our bingo card. I think it was like a touchdown favorites or something like that. They go lose. Yeah. So,
which, look, the Jackson Dart thing was a wild card. Like, I put the Chargers in a couple parlays. Didn't feel great about it, because you just never know with a rookie quarterback, especially one that can run, what that's going to do to the opposition. And sure enough, his legs were a major factor in the game. He looked okay. He looked pretty good. And we'll see what they're able to do now, because they'll be extremely limited in Malik Neighbors. But that's a tough loss for the Chargers. And the Chiefs sit at 2-2 now, not 1-3. they can absolutely catch. We'll see what Denver does tonight against a hobbled Bengals team. I suspect the Bengals will play a little better than they did a week ago. But we saw the Raiders lose yesterday in a game they probably are heartbroken about. If we have to pick a champ right now, it's going to be tough. It'll be tough. We got to see the Chiefs get through this. On the other side of that Chiefs game, the Ravens, TJ, now at 1-3. I was never going to be worried about a Ravens 1-3 record until Lamar Jackson left the game with a hamstring injury. And that does concern me a little bit. Their defense has looked awful, but their defense looked awful a year ago. And then by the end of the year got much better. So I've kind of tried not to look at that and be like, okay, they're in big trouble because the defense last year got better. But if Lamar Jackson's hurt, if he's got a hamstring injury, one of the more nagging, lingering injuries there are, now we're starting to get into a little bit of trouble zone there for the Ravens, who have a decent backup quarterback in Derrick Henry still. But this looks a little different at 1-3 with an injured Lamar Jackson than it would have otherwise.
Yeah, the one point of optimism that we've made over the last week is the fact that their schedule is vastly different than the Kansas City Chiefs schedule. Their division is, kind of stinks without Joe Burrow in it. Like, they're going to have chances to win games, even if it comes without the star guys that they have. They should win those games. It's been a slow start to the season for them so far, but I mean, the teams that they've played are unreal. Like, what was it? They've done Bills, Lions, Chiefs within 4 weeks of football. So that's
their
a tough
schedule
draw.
gets much easier.
That's what I'm saying. So I think that, I don't know what Lamar's injury is going to be, if it's going to be a nagging thing, if it's going to slow him down. But the thing is, if you're talking about the defensive injuries, I think that, we've seen the Ravens. They're a little bit like the 2018, 2019 Chiefs, where it's just, let's just go outscore somebody, and they can. So if Lamar is hurt, that's going to change that a little bit, as you're saying. But I think that I imagine it's not going to be a huge, long-standing thing. I don't think it was he got up and walked off type of thing. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to make any predictions or anything like that. But
well, even if it just limits him, I mean, a hamstring, if it limits his ability to run, changes things for them a little bit. We'll see. A couple of the big statement wins: the Rams, the Eagles, the Steelers probably need to count in there. The Lions need to count in there. A lot of good teams did good things. The Buccaneers just about got it done, even without Mike Evans, which I thought was interesting. Philadelphia feels to me, TJ, like Kansas City last year. They are just sort of finding ways, different ways, in fact, to get it done. Jalen Hurts, efficient again. They didn't run the ball particularly well. They didn't throw the ball particularly well. They only had 200 total yards of offense, and they win the game 31-25. That feels like what the Chiefs did to people last year. Like, here we go again. You just look up and you're like, oh, the Eagles have won now like 20 of their last 21 games. I think they've won all 18 of the ones Jalen Hurts has started in that stretch. Like, they are just a crafty team that continues to find a way. They're 4-0. They have played the Chiefs. They've played the Bucks. They've played the Cowboys. Their offense hasn't looked great at all. They're 4-0. Their defense didn't even look great yesterday. And they're doing that Chiefs thing from a year ago, where you're just like, how are they doing this?
Yeah, it was a crazy week across the NFL. That's for sure. It was a ton of fun. Following everything, as we've said, this is kind of the time whenever you start to think about, you think about the percentages of records of, if you have this, then you have this % chance to make the playoffs. You have this % chance to, win a division, everything like that. And so the outcomes yesterday definitely shaped that up a little bit.
The Lions look good again. They're the other team that's kind of sits at power rankings. They have an impressive win over the Browns. I wouldn't overreact to the score of that game. It got a little weird there at the end. The Lions, even though they scored 34 points, were not the juggernaut offense they had been. They had two big defensive plays that led to touchdowns late in the game that really, lifted that score up to where it was. But they also look pretty good. Bottom line for me is the Eagles are holding court, but they're not looking amazing. Like, it's a pretty open year. And we've thought that all along, right? But it does feel like there are more teams this year that have a shot, like even more than just having a playoff appearance, but would have a legitimate shot to win a Super Bowl. It does feel like there are more than there typically are. Usually we're having a conversation about 3 or 4 teams right now, but I think it's quite a bit bigger than that this year.
Yeah, that's what we talked about. Is that it feels like it's the Big 12 from a year ago.
Yep,
So everybody's going to get beat up. Like I don't think that there's going to be I don't think there's going to be a 2-loss team going into the playoffs. I don't know. I mean, do you think that there will be? Like the Eagles might have
the
a
Eagles
chance.
will be the best chance because they're so crafty. But no, I don't think I would say that I think there will be. I would if we're putting the number at 2, I would say the best team in football will have at least 3 losses.
Yeah.
So I'm with you in that sense. I
think after that though, I think there may be like 1 or 2 with 3, and then I think that there's going to be a drop off. I don't think there's going to be the upper echelon type of thing. I think it's going to be like a really like 1-2 teams, and then it's going to be like 12 that could
Yeah, it'll be tight.
havoc.
It'll be tight. Look, I think the Bills are going to have a hard time not winning 13 games this year because of the division that they play in and the fact that they've been able to navigate some dicey situations already. I mean, they're 4-0 and they've survived they'll be fine. I think they're going to get up there. Philadelphia, after winning the games they've already won, probably will too. And that's probably it. I mean, those are your best 2 chances. We'll see. We'll see tonight. None of these teams are going to be a real factor. I don't know. Maybe you believe in the Broncos. I don't think that I do. They'll probably look okay against the banged up Bengals tonight, but I'm not in really on the Broncos.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about the AFC West, I think I still like the Chargers more than I like the Broncos.
3 combined wins for the 4 teams playing tonight on Monday Night Football. I'm not sure why. Now, look, Bengals-Broncos before the Joe Burrow injury looked like it was going to be an incredible game. Jets-Dolphins? Why are we picking
Sicko Bowl,
I mean, are we really that obsessed with the New York television audience that we need to go Jets-Dolphins? Nobody this offseason would have looked at that and been like, ooh, we got to get in on that Jets-Dolphins game on Monday Night Football. Like, come on. There are a million games you could have put there.
The Dolphins are wearing their new jerseys on Monday Night Football. The rivalry's coming back out tonight. They're nowhere near as cool as the Cardinals, though.
Yeah, I guess I don't think I've seen those. You can hear both of those, by the way, tonight here on our family of networks. It's football. Look, we're going to watch it. I act like I'm so offended. I'll be watching every snap probably of both games if I can. We've got Cincinnati and Denver. That will be right here on KFH. And then Jets-Dolphins moves over to KNSS. So both games will be covered as a part of our Westwood One coverage here. You'll be able to hear them both if you're driving around. So stay tuned. All right, we'll come back. It's All Brockton Cleveland. We got another hour. We've got Joshua Brisco coming up to dig in deep on the Chiefs. We've got Jaylon Thompson to give a Royals postmortem. Officially, season's over. We'll do them both next in the next hour. Stick around.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
We are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now.
83101 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas fan headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. Another jam-packed hour on a Reaction Monday. Jacob Albrock, TJ Cleveland with you here on KFH. Thanks for watching us on 12 News Plus, on Facebook, on YouTube, on X. We've got Joshua Brisco joining us to talk Chiefs. We've got Jaylon Thompson joining us to wrap the Royals season. It's all what's on tap. Brought to you by the Wichita Brewing Company, now featuring the Cajun Bacon Ranch Pizza with an Alfredo garlic sauce based. topped with chicken, bacon, mozzarella, and Cajun seasoning drizzled in ranch. The Cajun Bacon Ranch Pizza now available in a lunch or full size at WBC. Pizza and beer made here. TJ, if I had to say power rank in terms of disappointment this weekend, KU falling at home to Cincinnati, giving up 603 yards of offense, the Ryder Cup American shortcomings, or yourself dropping a cupcake in the end zone and your shame being broadcast on national television. How would you play those out?
You know the answer to that question. You know what number one is. I can't.
So for those of you that didn't see, there's a great shot in the game. We've got it on social because we're giving TJ a hard time. Ball sails deep of the end zone, right where TJ is parked to shoot the game. I mean, hits him right in the chest, and he can't complete the play. And it was replayed and talked about by the announcers. That's a tough day. I don't know how you recover from that. It's a tough day.
The best part about it is that I've had about 15, 20 people text me about it. And on TV, it looks like I get drilled in the head, like straight to the dome. And it didn't happen that way. It was a perfectly arcing ball right towards me, had the camera, stopped recording because I was like, I'm catching this football. Stopped recording and moved the camera out of the way and went for the one-arm basket catch, went to haul it in, and the spiral just drilled me right in the pec, bounced straight off my chest away from me. So I went for the catch. I wasn't a helpless creature here taking this off the head, and that might make it worse. Like everybody else thinks I was just caught off guard and just wore it, and they're like, why didn't you try to catch it? Like I tried with every fiber of my being to catch that football, and I ended up like that.
But didn't. We didn't catch it. There's that. Look, the Ryder Cup. We'll spend more time on this when we have more time tomorrow. But the Americans fall short. That's wildly disappointing. All the chatter now because the Europeans got a little spicy, especially Rory McIlroy chirping back at the crowd. I'm gonna give you two takes on that have nothing to do with how disappointed I am that the Americans lost. There is a line when you're heckling, and I want the American fans heckling the Europeans. We all know what the line is. Like if you don't say things you wouldn't say in front of your kids and your mom, but heckle away like as much as you possibly can. Be as obnoxious as you can. Get in their heads. I'm for all of that. And on the flip side of it, but there's a line, don't cross it. On the flip side of it, Rory, golf doesn't need to be held to some higher standard when we're talking about the Ryder Cup. Stop lecturing people about the way, don't do that. Don't do that, Shooter McGavin. Let fans do their thing. If they cross the line and you want to chirp back, I think that's great. I think it's even better. The F-bombs, to you and the crowd, that's good stuff. That is it's why people love the Ryder Cup. Yeah. You got it drives me crazy when athletes lecture fans and coaches lecture fans. They're paying to be there. No, they shouldn't act a certain way. And yes, there are some of them that I'm certain crossed a line, but you can't lecture them. You can't do that. That's never a good look to me.
That's the one thing that he said is that the higher standard thing is the only thing that people are kind of getting up in arms about. The fact of the matter is, you go to a football game, you don't want to be sitting next to the guy who's screaming obscenities at the linebackers, right. That's the line. You can't do that, but you can hoot and holler and, the big third down stop is, Vuvuzela's coming out, everything like that. That's what the Ryder Cup should be. And I think that's what Rory is saying.
I don't even mind chirping at a guy specifically. At a younger age, we used to love going to baseball games and chirping a little bit with the outfielders. We'd have bad seats out there and you'd have fun with them, but look, there's a line. We all know what the line is. What it is. You don't even have to say what it is. What it is.
I think that's the part that's just driven all of this stuff. And it's because it's a little bit of you're in a group, and especially it's because of the Ryder Cup. This doesn't happen at other golf events. And it's not because it's the Ryder Cup. It's the fact that it's team golf and you're rooting for a team against the other team. You're not going to do this in golf because then you're a bully. It's just hey, Rory McIlroy, I don't like you specifically. You're not going to, that's the only reason that this gets to this point in the Ryder Cup. So I like it. It's a ton of fun. It has no place outside of the Ryder Cup. Obviously,
I will agree with that. Yes. Yes.
like the like waste management, like hooping, like the Wichita Open, like that's the fun part that it's leaning towards. And it's getting, even like normal events are becoming more and more like that, of having fun and, you know, playing music on the golf course and everything. That stuff's awesome. I think that the fact of like noise making and chirping and like screaming and everything like that, and you're not going to go to the whatever John Deere run and do that at golfers just out there golfing at their 7 a.m. tee times, you know?
Yeah, look, we got our butts kicked and we didn't feel good about it. And it was on our home turf. You got to understand where the fans are coming from. I guess good for the Americans for making it interesting on the way back. Let's talk KU here for the next 5 minutes or so, TJ, while we have it. You were there. That was a game they should have won. They should have been able to be better defensively than they were. They should have had the interception on the final drive in the nail, but they didn't. And they give up 603 yards of offense. KU's got to be able to win games, TJ, when they gain 600 yards of offense and when Jaylon Daniels plays that way and when they're going, like, you have to be able to win those games. And they couldn't. And that, for the first time, I think it's fair to say we're disappointed in KU this year because they should have won that game.
That's the thing, is that, you know, sitting there on the sidelines watching this game, it's like, yeah, the defense has had some struggles, but like KU's playing really well. Like, this is a fun game. Like, this is going to be a really awesome win for this offense to do this. And then you get down to the 30-second mark, and I told somebody, you know, they had the game-winning interception in their hands, and it popped out. And in the time I saw it, and I was like, that sucks. Game would have been over, but whatever. I mean, there's only 20 seconds left. And then sure enough, 60-yard pass. And it's like, you got to be kidding me. Like, how on earth can we not play prevent defense from 80 yards away? And so, like, that's it was a really, really good Saturday with a couple of flaws. And then it was just a punch in your gut, leaving you on the floor in the final 30 seconds. So that loss sucks. Like, just to be frank about it, because this team had the potential, I mean, to be a top 4 team in the Big 12.
Does.
Like,
that's the thing. It still does.
But Cincinnati's not a top 4 team. And that's the problem.
Well, look, I maybe top 4 is even a bit generous for Kansas. Also, I don't think we know yet in the Big 12. I think the Big 12 is going to be upside down and topsy-turvy and wild and weird and all of these things. To me, Texas Tech has probably looked the best. I haven't seen enough BYU yet. Houston's 4-0. I haven't seen a second of Houston football this year. We've seen Iowa State and Arizona State. Arizona State probably doesn't look as good as they did a year ago. Iowa State might look a little better. Like, I don't know what to make of it. I'm not sure that I think Kansas is a top 4 team because they're just not very good defensively. But Kansas will be good enough, I think, TJ, to beat anybody that they play in the Big 12 on any given Saturday.
Yeah,
like it's road, home doesn't matter. Like, when you can go out and gain 600 yards of offense, when Jaylon Daniels can go out and do those types of things again, KU can beat anybody anytime. That doesn't change.
As I mentioned, this is literally just like a copy and paste of the 2022 season for KU, I think, except without the, you know, surprise factor of like, oh, hey, maybe we're good at football now. You know, it goes back to, I was in Norman in 2022 and watching them play Oklahoma. That was, I think, the Dylan Gabriel year was still there. And final score was like 55-50. And it's like, you got to be kidding me. Like, KU could put up 50 points on the road in Norman and they lost a football game. Like, that might be what we're on pace for. Like, it's kind of like, it wasn't going to be a great defense, but nobody knew. Nobody knew if it was going to be good or bad. Like, the linebacker room, I think, is pretty good. I think that the front line is pretty good. I think that just yesterday, the secondary just got so exposed. And whether that be by design by Brendan Sorsby, he can run, and maybe that was a focus to try to contain that. But man, he made him look silly, and it doesn't really make a ton of sense.
Yeah, look, the 2 losses they had, the 2 competent offenses they've played this year, they've given up 31 and 34 points. So we'll see. We just have to see, I think, a little bit more. We know the offense will be great. How much better can the defense get? These are questions we had coming in. They lose a lot of great players out of that secondary, and that secondary has struggled right now. They get the same UCF team that K-State just played. They got to go there, and then they got to go to Texas Tech, And then they got to follow that up with the K-State Sunflower Showdown game. So here we go. That's what makes the Cincinnati loss, I think, the most disappointing. Is now this is a pretty rough stretch of schedule here. Back-to-back road games, a second leg of that against what I think is probably going to be the best team in the Big 12, and then back home for your rivalry game.
Yeah, there could have been a chance KU is 5-1 going to Lubbock. Like, I saw that tweet and it's like, gosh, could you imagine that game?
Yeah, that would be, and boy, it'll be fun. But here's the thing about KU: they could go to Lubbock and beat Tech. I mean, they could. They play that caliber of offense. So we'll see. We'll talk to Shreyas Latta later in the week, get his take on it as well. When we come back, though, we're going to dig in on the Chiefs with Joshua Brisco, the Chiefs Radio Network.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
The canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
We are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now.
310-1 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospitalized from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
And now, digging deeper with the teams you follow, it's another Sports Daily Insider interview on KFH.
And we welcome you back in here on Sports Daily, and we are glad to be joined by Joshua Brisco of the Chiefs Radio Network. You can find him on X at JB Brisco, no E on that Brisco. Josh, welcome in this morning here. The Chiefs, boy, I got to tell you, we talked about last week, some with you, some without you, about how like the range of outcomes here. The Chiefs winning a high-scoring game was not one of those outcomes that I foresaw as one of the possible scenarios here.
I don't even know if it's fair to the defense to call it a high-scoring game. It was kind of just a good old-fashioned thumping, fellas. And as hopeful as I am, and as much as I fundamentally believe in the Chiefs as an organization being better than people think they're going to be after a couple of bad weeks, you have enough of a sample size to know that the Chiefs do this on a regular basis. It looks over, and then 2 weeks later, they're so back, right? That's the cycle of this football team. Even with that in mind, I was enormously impressed, especially by the defense yesterday. Very, very encouraged by the offense getting back on the horse with Xavier Worthy coming back. This isn't quite true. This is a little bit of exaggeration, but they might as well be 4-0. Like, for how I feel right now, it feels they didn't win a Super Bowl yesterday. It wasn't even really a playoff game, but I woke up today and I fell asleep last night feeling about as good as I have after like an early playoff win where just the season gets to continue. And that's kind of what it felt like happened yesterday.
Yeah, that's definitely fair to say. You know, you talked about Xavier Worthy coming back. That was the headline coming into the day. In my mind, we kind of talked about getting him back, like in theory, opens up everybody else. That happened. And then he also had 110 yards of all-purpose offense. So, just what did he bring yesterday? Was it a little bit of that, or was it a little bit of the Ravens defense may not be very good too?
All three things you just touched on, all of that was a part of the story where you get Xavier Worthy back involved and you just remember that he moves differently. I mean, there's nobody else on this roster that moves like Xavier Worthy because there are very, 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 very few people on earth who move like Xavier Worthy. And he takes a couple of pretty big hits early on, steps out of bounds a couple times to kind of avoid unnecessary hits. You couldn't have asked for anything else from Worthy in my mind. That was as good of a return with a still question about how that shoulder is going to fare, as good of a return as you could have possibly asked for. So that's a huge win. It does raise the water for everybody else because that kind of speed demands kind of I always think about it as a gravitational pull, where if you're a defense, you're going to start cheating a little bit towards Xavier Worthy's gravity because he demands that kind of attention, which is always going to be good for whoever's underneath in the intermediate, stuff like that. And your point about the Ravens, very true. They came into this game with a ton of injuries. They're basically running a backup offensive line. The injuries and the state of the Ravens defense definitely matters. But guys, how long has it been? And how many times have we said, please, Chiefs, just go beat this bad defense and put up a bunch of points? I don't think they've done it since Taylor Swift Day against the Bears, where she was at Arrowhead for the first time. You go, oh, well, that's a thumping. Hey, everybody, we saw a thumping. I am thrilled to have it in whatever form and fashion. And the fact that it's the Ravens and not just like an injury-riddled version of the Titans or something, I do think still really matters.
Yeah, look, it matters. It matters who they played. It for sure matters who they played. I thought something interesting, and we brought this up earlier, Josh, is Mahomes looked great. The pass offense looked as good as it's looked in a really long time. And that's just going to keep getting better. We all know it is when Rice comes back.
Yeah.
They'll have Thornton still over the top, which I'm glad to see him involved a little bit still yesterday. But all that being said, the running backs carried the ball 24 times yesterday.
Yep.
And they weren't even running that effectively, but they still committed to it. And I feel like that matters a little bit.
I agree. I think it does. And it's not quite, to your point, it's not quite the like breakout explosive Isaiah Pacheco game that gets everybody buying back into what he's going to do the rest of the season. But I do think it's noteworthy that it was good enough. And maybe that's damning with faint praise, acknowledging how poor the running game looked to the start of the season. And Xavier Worthy has the most explosive run of the year, which is the least surprising thing of all time. You think about his involvement in this offense. But again, your point, the running backs get 24 carries. And Rashard Smith, I think, had a couple of those at the end. But getting all those guys involved, having Kareem Hunt just be there to execute a bunch of short yardage stuff. The Chiefs are really good on fourth down on both sides of the ball, right? Like, I mean, those short yardage chain movers, they're never going to make your average per carry look any better. And again, this wasn't a solution to all the running game's problems, but it was a good effort from Isaiah Pacheco after just some of the most mind-boggling. I like Isaiah Pacheco. I've remained hopeful that he'll be better off injury and that he's going to kind of get right some point going forward. The mistakes of like facing the wrong end zone and making Mahomes throw the ball backwards is like an unforgivable sin, right? For him to continue getting touches, have a pretty good day on the ground, and catch the touchdown is great news for a guy that I don't know if he had the yips or not, but just a guy that I think needs to build a little bit of confidence there. We know what Kareem Hunt is. He did his job exactly, and getting Rashard Smith more running back work, I think is really good for an offense that needs that gear. So yes, I am also encouraged by the running game. Still a work in progress, but I'm heartened by that.
Josh, you kind of brought it up there, raising the waters for everybody else. We talked to Pacheco in the locker room last night. He said that's the case for the running back room as well. You know, they're going to get more touches as the defense has to, drop back and prevent a little bit more. But I'm going to switch to the defense really quick. I need to know what your reaction was yesterday to the Leo Chanel interception.
I genuinely, not a joke, didn't know he could do that. That was my reaction. And the other reaction, I don't think I could tell you again now. I think you're tied to some FCC rules, right? I don't remember verbatim what I said, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't PG because it was, holy what? Leo. Dude's a freak athlete, and we know this. Like, he's an extremely fun football player. You could have told me that he was gonna like do a push-up over the offensive line before you told me he'd make like a jumping body control one-handed catch. I just could not have been much more impressed by that. It was an unbelievable play by a guy who keeps making these like absolutely bizarre highlight reel freak plays because that's who he appears to be.
It was another successful game against Derrick Henry. We got to talk about, speaking of Leo Chanel, the defense. I did not think the defense would replicate its past two seasons. It is doing that thus far. Lamar left the game a little bit early. They probably would have scored a little bit more, but game flow had as much to do with any of that. If the defense is going to stay this good, now I think we're cooking with Super Bowl aspirations again, because we know the offense is just going to keep getting better. This is a defense that looks every bit as good, honestly, like as they have the last couple of years. I can't believe it, but they do.
Yeah, especially just thinking about how different everything has looked since week 1 in Brazil, where the complicating factors against the Chargers, and I'm just going to have to go back to that as our kind of like negative point because that's the last time it was a negative. But the secondary's communication was clearly bad. There was busted coverage and it just sort of seemed like general confusion. And I'm still a little bit wary of the 4-man pass rush, but Ashton Gelati and Omar Norman-Lott as the new faces there have a chance to kind of overperform the expectations a little bit. George Karlaftis, I think, has been ramping up a little bit these last couple of weeks after a really slow start. Still some tough moments for Charles Omenihu. Chris Jones with a really nice game, fresh off of the plane and the family funeral. And you're going to talk about a weird day of getting to the stadium like an hour before kickoff, if even that. I might have been landing an hour before kickoff.
20 minutes he rolled in.
Unbelievable. And you wouldn't have known it if we didn't know it. So I am giving the defense an absolute ton of credit. I'm glad you mentioned Derrick Henry also, because it's just been, I remember this is a throwback here I wrote for The Athletic for a period of time. And I think about all the time that Super Bowl run and leading up to that Chiefs Titans AFC Championship game. And just, this is the most right I've ever been about anything. So I'm still taking victory laps on it years later, as you can tell. But I just remember that my take essentially on this column that I built all this evidence for and all of it was Patrick Mahomes isn't going to lose to Derrick Henry. Like, Ryan Tannehill is their quarterback. You have to keep up with this Chiefs offense. Now, obviously, the Chiefs have evolved since then. It's a different team for Derrick Henry, but the ethos there has remained that you can't just run the ball and keep a good offense on the sideline and automatically win football games. You don't get to do make it, take it, which I feel like is kind of the thing that people miss in a lot of the like ball control, run the clock, keep the quarterback on the sidelines kind of analysis. The Chiefs just haven't had an offense to fear that way over these last couple of seasons because of all the evolutions they've gone through. They've had functional offenses, but not threatening ones. Well, yesterday, the fireworks come out. Derrick Henry he has a fine day and a couple of plays you'd like to have back, but nothing back-breaking. And all of that's happening while they are pretty effectively corralling Lamar Jackson yet again. I might be skipping on to the next topic with you guys, but I really like Lamar Jackson. I've really liked Lamar Jackson for a long time. He's an incredible football player. At some point, even I have to look at this and go, what is happening here? Is this Spags just absolutely in his head? And I think yes. I do think that this is a Steve Spagnuolo thing as much as anything. But Lamar has to do something like fundamentally different to eventually get through an AFC Championship game, to make a Super Bowl. And as loaded as the AFC's been throughout his entire time as the starter there, I just don't know when that's going to happen for him.
Yeah, that was kind of the question that arose last week once we saw the Ravens lose on that Monday Night Football game. And it was like, one of these teams is going to be 1-3. And that is unbelievable to think about. And it was kind of like, who feels worse as a 1-3 team? Will it be the Chiefs or will it be the Ravens? The Ravens are 1-3, and now they're really injured, and more injured than when they came into the game. You can't feel optimistic at all as a Ravens fan, I feel like.
No, and they're in the thinner division, or at least this was the case during yesterday. I think this is still true, but it's closer now, which is great for us. But I think for the Ravens, I think the idea for me was, well, they're going to be in a better place the rest of the year at 1-3 than the Chiefs would have been, because I was thinking the Chargers are probably 4-0 going into Week 5, which again, spoiler, they're not. The only thing that the Chiefs have done this year that the Chargers haven't done is beat the Giants in New York. So shout out to Jackson Dart. Made a whole bunch of fans back here, I guess. But for the Ravens now, it's not just that they're 1-3 and that the Steelers are 3-1. There's plenty of time for them to make up that ground. They haven't played the Steelers yet. Like not only can the Ravens still make the playoffs, they can still win the division. But the defense is a legitimate problem. I have no idea what to think about Lamar's hamstring at this point. That the way they handled that yesterday, I thought was pretty poor, just in terms of like trying to at least get your messaging straight. But they have a path to get back. I don't know that they have the horses for it. I think the offense is probably good enough, and the rest of the league doesn't have a gear as good as I think the Ravens offense can still be if Ronnie Stanley and Lamar Jackson are on the field. Like that's kind of that's the floor for me there, I guess now. But the vibes are atrocious. And I think for the Chiefs, the standings would have been atrocious, but the vibes would have been salvageable because you know that your best skill position player is still coming back in Week 7. I don't know if the Ravens have a particular level of hope like that. Right now, it feels like they're one more kind of surprise, weird loss away from beginning to kind of chalk up this season as a loss. And maybe you're talking about a new head coach next year. And I don't know if that's entirely fair to Harbaugh, but again, it kind of seems like something's broken in that Ravens team, or at least something breaks against the Chiefs.
Yeah, I still believe in the Ravens. Here's something that bugs me a little bit, Josh. Are we okay to be bugged by Harrison Butker yet? 3 missed field goals, 2 missed extra points. We know how many tight games the Chiefs play. Back of my head, it's like this little voice, like Butker might be a problem this year. Like what is going on here?
Well, I can answer your first question, which is that yes, it's okay to be bugged. The second question, what's going on here? I don't know. And the kind of scary things, I don't know if Butker knows. I don't know if Dave Tobe knows. I do feel like you can have some confidence. I don't know if you can rest easy, but you can rest a little bit knowing that those guys should figure it out. And Butker has had problems in the past with the coming off the ankle injury and then having some issues in the shorter yardage kicks and all of that. But this seems different because you've seen it at various depths. It's not just the short stuff. It's not just the long stuff. You've just seen him be off. And I know there's been talk about him like collapsing to the knee, and they talked about it preseason. And then last week, Tobe said that's not a problem, even though Butker did drop to a knee, at least I think in that one miss prior. So right now, I think what you have to do is kind of recalibrate your expectations, where until further notice, and this could still change, but until further notice, you have to treat Harrison Butker like something you have not treated him as over the years, which is a kicker. You just have to kind of acknowledge that, hey, at some point you're going to have a guy come out here who's not one of your typical 11, and he's going to kick this ball, and you're going to hope it goes through. Maybe you can expect some of them, but I don't think you can expect the 58-yarder automatic. I don't even know if you can expect the shorter, or the PAT was the one that got moved back an extra 15. You got to make all of them. I'm not here to make any excuses for him. He's extremely highly paid. He's going to be highly paid next year. There's not like a real like panic button escape. And I don't think he's got like the yips necessarily, but something is out of whack with Harrison Butker. I feel like it's completely fine to say that because he knows that. And you have a few more weeks here, I think, to kind of evaluate what direction it's trending in. But he needs to just go out and have a clean couple games in a row. I don't need any game-winning walk-off field goals. Just go out there and go 3 for 3 or 4 for 4 on a bunch of kicks, and let's just kind of take a deep breath and hope that he's able to recalibrate.
It's a good month.
Want to get one more in here real quick. Sorry, Josh, from a viewer, just because they asked a question. Austin asks about Juju. I think, look, we're all happy with Juju. I think the question with Juju becomes, what roles when Rice comes back? Is it Rice and Thornton and Worthy that we see primarily? Where does Juju fit in, or how does this sort out? I mean, we got to get there first, but how do you think that room sorts out?
Well, you mentioning Rice, I think, was the right answer to the viewer's question of I really did think Juju was going to be hugely involved in the pre-Rice section of this season because they trust him to do the dirty work, to run the little rub routes, to be able to block on the perimeter. Juju is effectively like your do-everything guy right now, or, again, dirty work guy. Mitch Holthus calls him the door hinge. I think that's all very, very real. So you have the good problem, I think, when Rashee Rice comes back, where Juju can be out there just in dirty work situations, where you can have him out there still in the red zone because Patrick Mahomes knows he's going to be at the right place at the right time. And maybe you're not running 2 tight end sets. Maybe Noah Gray's not on the field because Juju's out there in the slot. I do think, and this is with genuinely like enormous respect for Juju and the way he plays and how reliable he has been, I do think your 1, 2, 3 need to be Rice, Worthy, Thornton. And that's, I'm glossing over Hollywood there too. This team hasn't had too many receivers in an extremely long time. And you probably remember, talking in St. Joe, the Chiefs were saying all preseason, all training camp, hey, this is like the best group of receivers we've had 1 through 7. And I kind of believe them on that in terms of depth, but then that depth was immediately elevated where you're 2, 3, and 4, where now you're 1, 2, actually you're 3, 4, and 5, or you're 1, 2, and 3, losing Worthy and Rice both. So I think you just got to tip your cap to all the guys who have stepped up so far. And I do think there will still be usage for Juju and then maybe Hollywood even after that, just because I think that what Juju does is something that Andy Reid values so much. But I also think Hollywood's going to continue to look a lot better when he is not the number 1 option or the fastest receiver on the field, which is just not what he is anymore at this stage in his career, when Xavier Worthy's out there or when Tyquan Thornton's out there. So again, I think these are all very good problems. I am interested to see how they shake out, but like excited to see a new movie I want to see as opposed to nervous about it.
Depth in that room is something the Chiefs have earned over the last few years for as many resources that they've poured into it. Yes. Josh, we didn't have time. It's okay. Jags up next, Monday Night Football. You guys will have us covered. The good news is we'll preview that game with you Monday. So we'll save our Jags talk for then. Appreciate it. Thanks for being here again this morning. We'll talk again next week.
I hope they're always this much fun. We'll talk to you next week.
Right. All right. There goes Joshua Brisco. Follow him, JB Brisco on X. We'll come back. We pivot right to Jaylon Thompson when we return here. Let's wrap the Royals season on Sports Daily.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Delivery. Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
The canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message, so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
We are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now.
310-1 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your
And now, digging deeper with the teams you follow, it's another Sports Daily Insider interview on KFH.
And welcome back in here. It is Jaylon Thompson with a postmortem. Jaylon, it's a sad day. The Royals are not playing in the postseason. Jaylon Thompson, Kansas City Star, Royals insider, joining us. It's the last time we'll probably talk to you for a few weeks until the offseason gets moving. The Royals in with 82 wins. The preseason odds had them at 83.5. So they didn't get there. We've asked the question a billion times over the last 2 or 3 weeks. How do we evaluate this season? But, at the instant reaction, how do you evaluate this season?
I think it's a missed opportunity for the Royals. They had a chance to really build on the momentum they sustained last year, making the playoffs. I think that a lot of it has to just come down to they had chances to win some games that they couldn't put teams away with their offense. And I think that cost them not having that complementary bat that could support the top four of Michael Garcia, Bobby Witt Jr., Vinny Pasquantino, Salvador Perez. I think if they can get that, whether that is via the youngsters of Jack Caglione and Carter Jensen, or they can go out on the open market to find that bat, I think that's really going to be the key for them next year because, as you've seen, the AL Central has teams that are really strong and they have teams that are going to be upcoming. So the Royals have to figure it out. Otherwise, they're going to be stuck in no man's land with a division that is rapidly getting better every year.
Jaylon, I think the biggest question that you can ask around the offseason, around the end of this season is, do you feel better skipping ahead thinking to like March 2026? Do you feel better heading into that season than you think you did heading into the 2025 season based on what we know now?
I think you feel better in a few areas. I think that if you're the Royals, you like that you have the starting pitching depth that you could really lean on. You saw how injuries ravaged that starting rotation, but you have about 8 guys that can really step in and give you quality starts each and every time out. So that's good. You can only play 5 a week. So you're going to have a couple of guys that either are going to be in the minor leagues and waiting for the opportunity, or they're going to be on another team if you try to improve the roster wherever you may see fit. So I think it's good that the Royals have that starting depth that they can use in potential trades, but talking with everyone in that building, they know that this window is open for them to make the playoffs and be a contending team. Because you got to remember that every year that you don't make the playoffs, every year that you don't make significant strides, Bobby Witt Jr. has that option in 2029, 2030, where he can say, hey, I want to go somewhere else if that is what he decides. So you got to, try to build a team that entices him to want to keep staying in Kansas City and for the long haul of that contract that he signed.
So next year, Jaylon, the biggest issue at hand will be the offense. Carter Jensen, I assume, will split the role with Salvi, similar to what we saw with Freddie. Salvi's kind of confirming that he'll be back. The big hole is going to be in left field. So how do they attack the big hole, do you think? Do they utilize their pitching depth to go trade for somebody, which seems to me more likely than free agency? They've kind of tried the Band-Aid free agency approach before. Like, what do you sense that they'll do to attack that spot?
Yeah, it's probably gonna have to be a trade. The off-season, free agents for the outfield is not that appealing. I don't see them being in the Kyle Tucker sweepstakes. I don't see them going and getting someone like Kyle Schwarber. So I think they're gonna have to make a trade or find a platoon option out there in left field. But I don't think a platoon option is really going to satisfy the fan base, knowing that you need another bat in the lineup that is consistent. You like what Mike Yastrzemski can bring to the table, but he's going to be in his age 35, actually 36, 37 season. So if he comes back, it'll probably be a short-term deal. They like Adam Frazier, but Adam Frazier is best utilized at different positions as in that utility role. So they're going to have to find someone that can post every day in left field. And if they don't find that, then you're going to be looking at, like I said, platoon options. You might see Michael Massey back out there some. But that's kind of the scenario that you don't want to go down that path of. You want to have someone that takes ownership of that spot.
I think that leads into the question of, how aggressive do they get with this trade? The Royals are an interesting spot. Like you said, they have 8 starting pitchers, and it's from the range of, Cole Reagans to Michael Lorenzen. Like, where do you put the scale there? And then where do you put the bat between, like you said, Mike Yastrzemski and, Kyle Schwarber? What is the range that you could see them actually going and getting?
Yeah, TJ, I think you have to look kind of mid-range. We all know last year that the Royals were interested in a guy like Anthony Santander, Jurickson Profart. Both of those guys did not pan out with their current teams that they're on now. So I mean, you kind of got lucky that you didn't pursue those guys, right? But if you're looking at like the outfield, maybe you look at a guy like Cedric Mullins that could come in and he'll be on the market, someone that fits in that budget range of what the Royals might be willing to spend, someone that has experience leading off, someone that, is a former All-Star and can, probably fit and adjust well to Kauffman Stadium. That's the first name that I kind of thought of, like when I'm looking at the free agent market. And if you're looking at a trade, I mean, there are guys that are out there, but it's going to cost. And you're going to have to really decide at what point do you want to trade some of that pitching depth. But also, those teams might also be having eyes on some of those younger guys down in single A. And the Royals have a good group of young guys that are really fascinating down there in the minor leagues. So they have to decide, do they want to push their chips all in, or do they want to, kind of make an upgrade while still keeping their options open in the future?
So then I would ask you this. If they're going to trade a pitcher, which one do they trade? Is Bubic going to have enough time to get back healthy? He makes the most sense because of his contract and because of what he showed, but will he be healthy enough for another team to take that on, or who would it be then?
That's going to come with a lot of risk because you don't know. You got to see Bubic be healthy enough to decide if you want to invest in making a trade for him, or do you want to, keep him. But he would be probably one of the ones that you would look at. Maybe you trade one of those younger pitchers that you required in the Freddie Fermin trade. I mean, both Ryan Berger and Stephen Kolek are really strong pitchers, and if you can't touch Michael Lorenzen or a Seth Lugo or a Cole Reagans, right? They're signed long term. That's the core of the starting rotation. So when you take those 3 guys out, who are you really looking at? Michael Lorenzen is going to be a free agent.
Waka will be there, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, who are you going to trade out of it? Bubic seems like the one that's probably going to be the one that you want to look at to probably move, but like I said, he has to prove that he's back healthy again.
Jaylon, so just picturing in my head here, skipping ahead to March because we got a long off season. We'll start thinking about next season, basically. You're talking about if they bring in this bat, it's likely going to be, like a corner outfield bat is what everybody's talking about. In my head, I envision it's going to be like a Vinny at first base, maybe Jensen somewhere in that lineup, and Salvi probably moving primarily more towards a DH-ish role. Like you said, not entirely DH-ish. If that's the case, what is this outfield going to look like? Is a Jack Caglione fit in there, or is it going to be a little bit more of a development period for him?
Yeah, Jack Caglione is going to be probably on the roster next year, and he's probably going to be in right field. I just can't see them not wanting to see that power develop and, kind of break out in a way where he can have a Nick Kurtz type year in 2026. I think that's the projection that he'll be on next year. You got to remember, he hit a lot of balls hard. It just found gloves. Mm-hmm. And with Carter Jensen, he's had an incredible month in the big leagues. But there's going to be a book on him. He's going to have to make the adjustment. So we'll see how well he performs. But he looks like someone that's going to be the real deal up here in Kansas City for sure.
Jaylon, we appreciate all your coverage and help this year. Give us a World Series prediction here.
It's tough. I think with everything that's going right with Cal Raleigh, who I think should be the MVP, I think that Seattle will be there, and I think that you'll get a team like probably the Phillies. I'm gonna go Seattle and Philadelphia. I think that'll be a good series. It's gonna be a long series for travel, but this might be the year for Seattle. It really might be the year for Seattle. What do you guys think?
Can we just all get on a Seattle Brewers World Series or a Seattle Reds World Series?
Yeah.
The Padres would be the Brewers, the Reds, the Padres, the
No
Mariners. I'll even throw the Blue Jays in there. Like, can we get one of these new teams in there? I think I'm pulling for Seattle. My wife's from San Diego, so I gotta say Padres. Man, I think it'd be cool for the Brewers to get one, but
yeah.
Just give us some small markets. I want a small market World Series.
Yeah, I do too. Get the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Red Sox the hell out of there.
It just feels like this is Seattle's time. It just does.
Oh, it does.
I mean, everything has lined up for them to do a good job. I mean, you got Boston and New York playing in the wild card round, so they're gonna knock each other out. So that's great for Seattle. I mean,
it is. The upstart Reds get the first crack at the Dodgers. Like, let's go. Let's get the big
Brady
one.
Singer could be pitching in one of those series. You never know.
Man. God, that's probably not a good thing. Jaylon, we appreciate it. We'll check in throughout the offseason here on what you're hearing. And if you have stuff that you want to pop on for, just let us know. Man, we really appreciate all the visits all season long. You enjoy your start to your. I know it comes a little earlier than normal.
What do you do now? You go golf now? What do you do all off season, Jaylon?
I'm gonna sleep for a bit, go see family for a bit, and then I like video games, so I have a catalog of video games that I need to get done and play.
Need to get through there.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. Godspeed, Jaylon. We'll talk again soon. Thanks for everything this season.
Thank you, Jacob and TJ. Talk to you guys soon. Can't wait for you.
Hopefully we get some early winter action in the Royals off season.
Let's do it.
There goes Jaylon Thompson, our Royals beat reporter. Go follow him on X. Follow all his work at the KC Star. Such a great job all season. Man, 82 wins. Right there, TJ. Right there. Honestly, probably a few injuries away from being in this thing next year. But you asked that question on. I don't know how you would not be more excited next year because Cags is called up, because Jensen's called up. Salvi figured it out over the course of the year. We haven't, and maybe someday we talk about the year that Vinny Pasquantino had, but it was an awesome year. Like it's right there. It is right there. Most of the bullpen pieces are back.
It's the same excitement level, and you just learn that you have 10 starting pitchers on your team.
And Jack Caglione called up, and hopefully now with some seasoning to get pushed in there. Anywho, thanks to Jaylon Thompson for all his work for us and just in general this season. We'll be back. We got more Sports Daily. Don't go away.